Hi guys, it's me again. I know, long time no see. I just wanted to jump on here real quick and give y'all an update. This is my 8-month update status post gastric bypass. I had gastric bypass August 26, 2019, and just wanted to let y'all know how I was doing. Okay, so today I come to you, I've weighed this morning and I weigh 190. So I'm 5 pounds away from my weight loss goal, and that's 8 months and a few days status post gastric bypass. I haven't done an update in 2 months, I think. Life's been a little crazy. As most of you know, I'm a healthcare worker. So it's been a little crazy at work with COVID-19 and everything. Everything with my surgery has been going great since my dilation and everything in December. No problems, continuing to lose weight. Started getting back into exercising. Had a little bump in the road 3 weeks ago. Yeah, 3 weeks ago, tomorrow. I had to have an emergency appendectomy. That was no fun. I thought I had a stomach virus. My stomach was hurting, but it wasn't the typical right lower quadrant pain like, you know, many appendectomy patients that I have scanned in my career. It was kind of diffuse abdominal pain, which once I read the report of my CT scan, I now understand why my abdomen pain was more diffuse versus the classic right lower quadrant, because where I had my gastric bypass surgery and they went in and moved everything around, you know, everything shifted. So my appendix was very medial, which is like midline in your abdomen. So instead of my appendix being in my right lower quadrant, it was in like the middle, like my pelvis area. So that's what caused my pain to be so weird. And obviously now I know with gastric bypass we can vomit, but you know, if you haven't eaten anything in an hour or two and you get sick, you're not gonna vomit, you're just gonna dry heave. So whenever I woke up the Saturday morning at like 2 o'clock, whenever I was so sick, I was just dry heaving, and like I would have an episode of dry heaving. It would last about 5 minutes, and then I would go and lay on the couch and just hurt, and 15-20 minutes later another episode of dry heaving. And I did that for about 4 hours Sunday morning. And then I finally called my gastric bypass doctor to let him know what was going on and to make sure I wasn't doing anything to injure my surgery. I mean, which I couldn't stop it. So they told me, because I was not running a fever, because I took my temperature, I was not running a fever, and like I said, I was having diffuse abdominal pain and dry heaving. So my gastric bypass doctor called me in, say some Zofran, to try and get the dry heaving to stop. Zofran wouldn't even stop the dry heaving. So after another hour of dry heaving and hurting, I called the doctor back and they told me to get some Dramamine. So my boyfriend went to the pharmacy, got me some Dramamine. Combination of more Zofran and Dramamine finally stopped the dry heaving. And so I laid around all day Sunday and slept and hurt. That's all I did. I didn't eat anything, didn't drink anything. So then Sunday evening, the doctor called to check on me, and I told him what I was doing, and he told me to go to the emergency room because he was afraid of dehydration because I wasn't able to drink. Well, healthcare workers are the worst patients. If you don't know that, we are. Me being stubborn and hard-headed like I am, I did not go to the ER. I called out of work Monday, figured another day of rest, I would be fine. Still couldn't eat. I attempted to eat some chicken broth. No. I would sip on water, so I was getting some fluid in, but I got maybe 4 ounces of water all day Monday. And then Tuesday I got up and I went to work, and about 9 o'clock, I asked if I could go home so I could go to the doctor. So I went to the doctor, they drew lab work. Whenever he went to do the, test my abdomen, I was so tender I about come off the table. He was gonna do an ultrasound, and then whenever the lab results come in, my white blood cell count was elevated, so he changed that to a CT scan, which is, if any of y'all don't know, that's what I do. I do CT scan. So I was like, great. I just left work, here I am, now I'm gonna be a patient, during all this mess. So I went and got registered for my CT scan. They come out, they gave me my contrast. I drank all my contrast. Even though we've had gastric bypass surgery, we're still able to drink the 450 mLs of contrast. You just have to sip on it. I mean, it's the same as drinking water. You would drink the same amount of water in an hour, so I did it. And just knowing how things operate, behind the scenes, whenever the CT tech come out, which, I knew her, obviously. Whenever the CT tech come out and she's like, yeah, we're gonna leave that IV in until the report comes up. I knew then exactly what was wrong. So I went out and I waited, and the tech come out and she said, all right, gonna go to the ER. I was like, okay. So I walked down to the ER, checked myself in, and the thing that sucked about it was, yeah, I've been through surgery. I've had plastics. I had gastric bypass. I've had hysteroscopy. I think that's what it's called. I had a polyp in my uterus. I had to have surgery for that. But it sucks having surgery whenever the hospital is basically on lockdown and you have to go into emergency surgery by yourself. Yes, I'm an adult, I'm a grown woman, I know that, but, with my gastric bypass surgery and any other surgery I've had time to prepare myself for it, and, it wasn't something that was just sprung on me within an hour. I'm almost 40 years old, and sitting there waiting to go back to surgery alone. It was just so scary because, if something happened, they would have to get on a phone and call someone, to make a life or death decision for me. It wasn't like someone was there in the building that if I wasn't doing okay after surgery, the doctor could go out and talk to my mama and ask, what my wishes were. But, so, back in pre-op, I was pretty emotional, to say the least. I was very, very thankful that with me working at the hospital, I have friends in different areas, and I do happen to have a very good friend that works in pre-op, and luckily she was working that day, so at least I had a familiar face there, somebody to be there with me. And I cannot thank her enough for, she stayed after work, just to be there whenever I woke up, because I get so sick post-op. I did after a gastric bypass, I did after my plastics, I did after my hysteroscopy. After every dose of anesthesia I've ever had, I get so sick. And I told the anesthesiologist that, and he assured me that it wouldn't be the case, because you only get sick whenever they work on your stomach, your female parts, or I think he said your mouth. Guess who was dry heaving once again after surgery for an appendectomy? This girl. Yeah, it sucks. It sucked after having gastric bypass, being sick, and, dry heaving with surgery on my stomach. It sucked dry heaving after having an appendectomy. Both surgeries, they cut into major muscles in your abdomen. Was not fun. So I've been recovering from that for the past 3 weeks. So luckily with all this COVID stuff, I've been out of work, but it sucks that happened. But I'm getting back into, the routine of things, getting back into exercising, nothing strenuous, just doing some walking on the treadmill. Sometimes I'll walk outside if it's nice, which I freeze all the time, so it's never nice. And I live in South Carolina, which is basically like the Sun Belt of hell. It's still not warm here. Sometimes, even after your gastric bypass surgery, you have that twinge in that muscle where they cut it, but that's good. And they were able to go into one of my scars from my gastric bypass surgery at my belly button. So now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 stab wounds on my stomach, and then 2 up under my breast where I had my plastic surgery. So I kind of look like a zebra cheetah now with all the stripes from the stretch marks and the stab wounds. So my scars are very interesting. I'll never be able to wear a bikini, so it really doesn't matter, but, but this is the life I chose. It was my choice to be fat, and I got the stretch marks, and then it was my choice to have the gastric bypass and have the scars, so that's one thing I'm dealing with. And excess skin. I knew about it before, but until it really happens to you, like trying to do a plank, and then you look down and you see this curtain of just wrinkled skin. So not attractive. And like I mentioned in my last video, I'm dating someone, and it's just not, it's not sexy. So that's another thing that I'm struggling with, is finding the self-confidence in the new body that I have, and to not let it affect our relationship and our intimacy. But it's hard. Just picture in your mind things that you do when you're intimate and a big old curtain of skin on your stomach. Yeah. So think about that. Would I like to have a tummy tuck? Why, yes, I would. But considering, 2 major surgeries within 6-8 months, yeah, it's going to be a while before I have the money for plastics. So, I mean, if it's meant to be, it'll happen. And if not, I mean, a badge of honor, I guess you call it. Some people call it. I'll just have to learn to deal with it. And he'll have to love me through it. I have noticed that, the weight loss has slowed down, and I'm able to eat. I'm not hungry, still from surgery. I'm not hungry. I'm never hungry. But, like, you have to remind yourself that you have to eat. But it's still hard for me to make those right choices, because before surgery I was a food addict, and that's not something that's going to go away just because I had the surgery. So I have to constantly remind myself, to make better choices. Like, I can eat. And it's crazy because I can eat anything that I want. I can eat ice cream, I can eat cookies, I can eat cake, candy bars, and I don't dump. But then, like, every once in a while, my body throws me a Hail Mary, and I'll be eating, like, I had watermelon Friday. Have been eating watermelon all week. Never dumped. Was sitting there eating it. Started profusely sweating. Got nauseous. Felt funny. Like that weird feeling between your ears that I mentioned before, where like your hearing kind of gets fuzzy. But it's only every once in a while. And I can't pinpoint it to where, like, if it's before I eat a meal per se, or it just randomly happens. Sometimes this time it was watermelon. Sometimes it happens with, like, a beverage. Like, if I get a coffee. Sometimes it happens with yogurt. Low-fat yogurt, of all things. But it's, just learning this new anatomy that I have. Still learning. But I'm 5 pounds away from my goal. So I really gotta buckle down and be more strict on myself to get to where I want to be. I wanted to be at my goal weight before my 6 months, but obviously that didn't happen. Hopefully I can be there by my year appointment. Which isn't too far away. I mean, just sitting back and thinking about it. Hopefully I'll get to go back to work in 3 weeks. I mean, having to stay out 6 weeks for an appendectomy is crazy to me. But, I mean, I stayed out 2 weeks whenever I had my breast augmentation. But, whatever. I'm going crazy, with being at home and everything shut down because of COVID and being out of work. I mean, so, like, work was my social outlet since everything's social distancing. But, yeah, I'm ready to go back to work. I think that's it. I'm going to try and reply to all of y'all's comments that have been made within the last month or so. Welcome to all of my new subscribers. I've been checking kind of frequently, and I see a lot of y'all are new. Drop me a comment below. Tell me, hey, if you have any questions, my email is always on here. You can follow me on Instagram. And one more big thing that has happened, I saw a post on Instagram of another gastric bypass patient, and she had been approved by Premier Protein to be a Premier shaker, and I went and applied online and I was approved. So I am, I guess you could say, sponsored by Premier Protein, and I don't think they're gonna send me like a case of shakes, but I have not received my first package from them. But I will do a video as soon as I get my first package. I promise it won't be a delayed video. So that's kind of exciting. I mean, Premier Protein shakes is basically what I live off of, because that's the easiest way for me to get my protein. That and yogurt, when yogurt doesn't give me dumping syndrome. Anyway, just wanted to jump on here and give you guys a quick update on what has been going on, where I've been. I hope all of you are staying safe, staying at home, avoiding all this mess, and not going crazy, and not eating yourself out of house and home. Just try and stay focused, try and stay positive, and it's gonna get better. It's not gonna be like this forever. We got this. All right, guys, until next time, see you later.